Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's another exciting day here in the studio because Mrs. Bricksie and I are going to continue cleaning up our unsorted Lego pieces. Look at that. These cabinets are pretty much empty. Well, that's just because we transferred all of the unsorted Lego onto this table over here, but our goal today is to break down everything and get it all sorted and organized by size by working it through our giant sorter here. And we're also going to do the exact same thing with this giant bin of unsorted pieces. We actually started our day off at Canadian Tire because that's where we get these bins that fit perfectly underneath our table. And as you can see, we have space for 6 more, so we decided to pick those up today. So our goal is to get all of this stuff broken down because a lot of it involves little pre-built mini builds or even Avengers towers and many other things. But we want to get it all broken down, sorted by size, and tucked away underneath the tables over there. So here we go, everybody. Mrs. Bricksie and I, we started sorting parts at 9:30 a.m. and we went until 4 o'clock, and there was 2 of us doing it. And let me tell you, we didn't take a long break at all. Like, we just ate some quick small portions of lasagna and that's it. You know, Garfield would be proud of us. But we just sorted all day, and we've been wanting to take care of this for so long, and we've had so many different sorting days over the last year, but this one really feels like we're gonna accomplish a lot just because we're coming up with a new system and it's really helping us break down and sort of digest all the bulk that we have and make it so that it's not as like intimidating. I think that's the key when it comes to Lego sorting, is you want it to be somewhat broken down so that when you have sorting days, it doesn't feel too bad. So Mrs. Bricksie sitting at the table there, and she's like breaking things down and sorting them by part type as she breaks them down. So we're putting the brick, the plate, the slopes, and all that stuff together. And I'm taking care of that massive bin of bulk. And that massive bin of bulk is actually like a bunch of different things that we've accumulated way back from when we originally started collecting Lego, which was actually in 2015. So we've been collecting Lego for just over a decade. And when we originally started collecting Lego, I reached out to my parents and said, hey, by chance, do you have the Lego that I had, or me and my brothers had when we were kids? Like, do you still have that? And they gave me 3 black garbage bags full of random pieces. And a lot of it was some pretty weird stuff, and a lot of it was off-brand stuff. So I sorted it like multiple times throughout the last decade, but I never really got around to actually finishing the job just because there was such random things in there. So it's actually pretty cool because some of the elements that are in the bin that I'm going through right now are from that collection. So technically some of the elements that I'm sorting right now are from when I was a kid. Also included in there is like a bunch of random pieces because we've acquired so many different collections over like local classifieds over the last decade, so a lot of that got worked into this bin. And then I remember we actually picked up like a bin of Legos given to me from a family member, and it was like a really raunchy bin of Lego. It was like super dirty. There was like liquid in it, and there was like all sorts of random things that weren't Lego in there, like rocks and crayons and all sorts of off-brand stuff. And it was like filthy, so I had to like clean it in the bathtub multiple times. And when I went through there, I originally picked out all the stuff that wasn't Lego and sort of got rid of it. But all that got worked into this bin as well. And as I'm dumping it out into our big sorter there and working it through the different layers and sort of sieving it through and sorting it by size, I also have to go through and pick out all of the stuff that's not Lego. And the stuff that's not Lego is like really sort of like weird off-brand things that I don't think is really going to work in anyone's collection. So I am just getting rid of it at this point. But I will say we do have a bunch of oddity type stuff that's actually Lego and things that don't really fit in our collection. So I will be sending those into the Lego reuse. Like, we will be sending parcels into there which will get donated to kids who are going to put those weird pieces to use, but I can't send them off-brand stuff. So yeah, I'm just going through and sorting that entire bin, ripping it through the sorter there, and sorting everything by size, which will make it a lot easier to digest in the future. As I mentioned, we actually started our day off at Canadian Tire. It's a Canadian Tire store that sells everything. You can see their bin aisle here. And we found these bins quite some time ago. They worked out just perfectly because they're like the same depth as our table. They're not too expensive. They come with a nice latch system and a lid. They're $16 each, so we picked up 6 more of those today. Doesn't that look amazing? That is so much better. Everything is sorted by size now. Like, that is just so much better. Plus, some of these bins have like actual part types in them. And eventually, that's what we want these bins to be, is our backstock of part types. But hopefully more sorted than they are now. For example, that's all bricks. This is all slopes. This is all plates. And of course, everything is labeled as such. There's still more though. Mrs. Bricksie's working on breaking down more stuff, sorting it as she does so. And I'm gonna join her now because we still have these 3 bins to break down. So for some reason, I've selected to do this on the ground. I think it's just because that Lego sorter is so big and I don't really have a table that's big enough for it, and you sort of got to shake it around periodically. But because I've decided to do this on the ground, my back hurts, my knees hurt. This was sort of a tough day for the old man here, but you know what? It feels good to get her done. Now we're breaking all that stuff down. Mrs. Bricksie and I are doing it differently. I'm sort of breaking it down in the sorter. So I'm like dumping it into the sorter, breaking it down and shaking all the pieces down through the sorter, sorting them by part size, and then I'm picking out some of the bricks and plates and throwing in the bins, which are beside me there, as I do it. Whereas Mrs. Bricksie is like breaking things down and sorting them into the smaller bins, which will be put into the larger system later on. She's probably doing it a little bit more refined than me. I'm like, let's just get this done. Let's get all this stuff broken down, sorted by size, and put into the bins, and then we can go about refining it further later on in life. And that's our plan. Once we have it broken down by size, and we want to have a sorting day, all we have to do is dump out like a medium or a large or a small bin, whatever it may be, sort for however long we want, pull out all the brick, all the plate, all the tile, and all that stuff, work it into our drawers, and then say, okay, we're done. Put it all back into the medium bin and put it back within the system. I think it's way easier to have the, 16 large bins rather than having like 80 small bins in the studio. I think it's just way more manageable this way. And also, it's going to be easier to find parts that we might need when it's broken down by size. At least we've found that really works because, for example, if we've run out of 1x1 tiles, all we have to do is whip out the extra small bin, search for all the 1x1 tiles that we need, and then continue building. So it just makes it easier to find those pieces when they're refined by size. After an entire day of sorting, here we go. Mrs. Bricksie and I broke it all down by size. That is just awesome. Oh my gosh, these bins are so satisfying now. It's amazing. Like, wow, it's going to be so much easier to sort these bins and find the pieces that we're looking for, even though they're technically not sorted. Having them sorted by size, I feel like it's just one major step toward completion. Unfortunately, there is one more bin that we have yet to break down. We just ran out of time here today, but that shouldn't take long to break that one down, run it through the sorter, and then dump it into these bins. Now, I don't know if we're going to do that tomorrow. I really don't feel like continuing to sort. So what we're going to do now is actually tuck these away back in their home and see what it looks like, because I'm just excited about that. It's just going to be so satisfying to see that. I can't wait. Now we're gonna have to pull these bins out again to continue sorting, but I wanna get them put away because I don't feel like tripping over them for the next week here. And it's interesting because if we were to break down that last bin there and sort it by size and put it into these bins, these 16 bins would be like maxed out, but essentially everything fits. So that's just like another satisfying thing. We have like 16 bins, which are pretty much like maxed out, which is pretty cool that it all fit within those bins. Last thing we have to do is actually empty some of the silly heads into our tire bin. So just like that, we get rid of a few more containers. At the end of this sorting challenge, this is all of the empty containers, along with all of these. This stack barely fits in this cubby anymore. And then there's all of these empty bags as well, and that is the end result. That is pretty much all of the semi-sorted Lego that we have now. That's what we've broken it down to. Holy, that is just incredible. Everything is labeled nicely. It's amazing. We've got a big bin full of tires right down here, and then just a little bit more that we have to break down. And then the stuff that remains in this cabinet over here is pretty well sorted by like minifigures, green plate, windows and doors, and like specialty projects such as mini builds from various builds that we've done over the years, 501st battle packs, bagged out sets, more mini builds that will be reused in the city, etc. So we've got all our unsorted Lego down to that, which is amazing. I can't believe that we're at this point. Oh my gosh. I am so happy that we decided to do this. It just makes it so much more like manageable. It just seems like, oh, we got some Lego to sort here. It's nothing. Most of it's already broken down by part type or by size. It's so easy to sort now. And we also get all our cabinet space back, which is awesome. What a satisfying day. Everybody, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.